Okay, dear venerable brother, Dhamma friends, we are going to start the first Dhamma discussion. Probably you can come forward maybe. Don't know whether it's making this one, whether it is making noise or yours. So as usual, Chandrika is ready with the written questions. So probably we'll start with the written questions. Yeah.
Avasara Bhante, we have 5 reports today.
Right.
Report number 1. Glad to get an opportunity at this meditation retreat at Kalalgoda for the first time in Sri Lanka. Thank you and many merits to Bhante and everyone involved in this noble act. Sitting meditation. Although I have been meditating regularly for 2+ years, today I did the sitting after a 5 weeks break. Though thought to start as a new yogi, as per Bhante's guidance, I concentrated on my posture, how my legs are kept, arms touching the skirt, etc. Then I looked at my breath. It was normal and I felt easy and comfortable. Then I looked at the whole body. There weren't any noticeable pains or discomfort. Then I looked at my mind. It showed a little happiness as the body didn't show any pain. Kept watching what mind doing next. It stayed still. Then heard Bhante's voice. I'll keep doing what I am doing, the mind said. After some time, noticed a pain on right leg, which is usual at halfway of sitting meditation. Watched it, then felt it is benumbed. Adjusted the posture. Kept looking at what and where the mind travelling till Bhante's voice came saying sadhu. Walking meditation. Chose a sand pit to do the walking. Felt the rough sand touch my soul. Then watched the hanging hands swing beside the body on their own rhythm. Watched the eyes trying to look the green leaves and the sun rays coming through the branches. Stopped for a moment and let the eyes to indulge the beauty of the nature. Listened to the sounds of the mind, mixed with the sounds of sweeping eagle broom. Few thoughts crept into the mind about past 2 days' happenings, but instantly looked at them and they disappeared. Few insect bites on the leg gave me the awareness on scratching. Then thought to walk to the hall and end the session so that insects can enjoy the sunny weather. I am glad I wrote this although my mind didn't want to do so. Heard someone saying, "Oh good, another question is writing." I feel even after 5 weeks of break, my practice can be maintained up to some extent, although it's not great. Thank you. Thero and Saranai.
Good. Basically, what I understood is where you are living with yourself. So awareness is there. So you know how the body is functioning and how the mind is reacting or sort of settling to the situation. So that's very much we can understand. And on the other hand, how about thinking? Is it thinking happens within your control, or time to time you are being driven by some amount of thinking, or everything happens within the mindful space? So this is something that you can see. And on the other hand, I feel that this yogi has the capacity to keep the mind unattached. So am I correct, or are you still using a particular object to hold your attention? Anyone who has written it? It's Mahesha? Yes, right? Yeah, so you can explain a little bit I feel that you are maintaining the mind unattached and but still capable of observing various incidents going on and how sometimes thoughts appear and then disappear, again settling to the equanimous space. Am I correct?
Yes, Bhante.
Yeah.
I actually have which I would like to ask from you as well, putting my mind to an object, I don't like that much.
Sorry, I didn't get you.
Putting my mind to object, even to start the meditation, as you have given the guidance that we have to look at the object and then transfer
Typically,
it to...
No, that doesn't mean that we always have to do that. Since I am doing the guided sitting for a kind of general audience, I am doing so. But if you can quickly keep the mind unattached, you are welcome. So it's not always necessary to go through go through anapanasati or rising and falling and then makes the mind unattached. It is not a must. When a yogi is fairly familiar with this process, he or she can immediately put your attention to the unattached nature, non-grasping state of the mind, can simply maintain there. So no need to go through the typical procedure again and again, but for a general establishment of mindfulness, we are using a particular object, and for that again and again we are applying our mind and then trying to maintain our attention there. And then once attention is available or mindfulness is available, then we are sort of improving the clear comprehension. So that's the typical procedure.
Yes, Bhante. Most of the time, even when I'm not meditating as well, I can get back to my state of looking at the mind, where the mind runs, and then I just keep watching.
Mm-hmm.
Whenever whatever activity I do it.
Right.
But when I'm not doing much work or any house chores, then I can just watch my mind wherever I am, whether I'm standing or whether I'm with someone. Even when I'm talking with someone, my mind not going with the person's conversation,
Correct.
I just keep it to myself, and sometimes I don't hear what the person is saying, and I don't respond.
So you don't hear what the person say, or
sounds are there, but I can't remember what the person said. And sometimes they ask, did you hear what I said? Then I only realize that I should listen to them. So then because I feel like it's boring to listen to their stories and indulge that.
So it depends,
So-
no? I mean, say for example, now I am listening to your boring story. So I should listen, by the way. I have to pay some attention. So likewise, it depends. Sometimes if we can switch to a state where I'm not much, even though I'm listening, but not really interested of what's really going on, then you can simply discard. But at the same time, we should be able to mindfully listen so that I can understand the other party is telling.
Of course, sometimes I have to go with people to watch recently I went to see a musical program. So then also I was sitting and I was enjoying it, and I was thinking, I heard one time Bhante was saying that when you listen to music or when you listen to a song, it's okay to enjoy it. So I did that. I did that and I enjoy it. I can do that with other people. But I don't carry it home, or I don't have to look back at it and then be happy about it or overjoy about it. But I can enjoy at the moment.
That's a thing. I don't know the proper term is enjoyment or detached listening or something like that. Because if we go to a situation where now assume that we are listening to a particular song, and the content of the song we can fairly understand, at the same time the melody we can sort of enjoy, and we can even imagine various things according to the lyrics. We can have various imaginations, thoughts in the mind, so then we are indulging. But on the other hand, assume a situation where, say, song is really beautiful and calming or relaxing, or some kind of melody is there. At the same time, we can appreciate what is being done, but no thoughts in the mind. a very relaxed nature in the mind, and we are not going to any imagined state depending on the content of the song. I feel that would be much better. And there's an interesting incident happened, in one sutta called Sakkapanha Sutta in Digha Nikaya, where Panchasika, that is, he is the celestial, singer or entertainer of God Sakka, and now he is coming to the Buddha to get the permission to visit God Sakka. So, by the way, what he is talking is about his fiancée. The interesting and how he fall in love and how beautiful she is and all these things. This Panchasika is singing using his lute or whatever the celestial instrument. So Buddha was listening, by the way, and at the end of the song, to say, yes, your rhythm and the voice and everything was well balanced or something like that, Buddha also has mentioned. So we can't say that Buddha was very much indulging in that, but still listening has happened. And rather than rejecting that, Buddha appropriately made a comment. So these are very interesting areas how we can see not even the Buddha, even the Arahant. So how they are living the kind of the life without getting attached, without getting involved, but still appreciating the beauty. So this is something that we can even learn. Because sometimes we think, okay, when you start meditating, you have to completely deprive from all the things and you are leading a very dry sort of a life and no enjoyment at all, and you become like a completely indifferent type of a person. I feel the opposite is possible because you become fairly sensitive. Even a little thing can make you happy, isn't it? Say even a bird's sound, maybe a little bit of a breeze, maybe a smile of a kid or whatever like that. Very little things can make someone happy. Not necessary to have a kind of a sensual gratification. So typically what is available is that people need very intense kind of sensual gratification for them to be happy, so that that indicates that their minds are very gross in that nature. So they require very gross, intense kind of gratification. But on the other hand, when someone starts meditating, even little thing can make someone happy. He doesn't need very intense kind of gratification at all. Even a little thing can make him happy. So likewise, I feel, as you are mentioning, so you can enjoy a song and you can appreciate how the things are composed or something, whatever it is, but still maintaining a relaxed mind, isn't it?
Yes, Bhante. Actually, what I tried to do at that session was I tried to test myself because I actually went for a musical session after many years. I didn't go and I don't enjoy as such. So then it happened to go, so I went. And then time to time I looked at my mind, what mind doing and whether it's really getting crazy. So I felt like I heard two Bhante's talks one day saying that how to enjoy a song or something, similar sutta you taken and explained to us like years ago. So I had that in mind, and so I looked at it and I listened to it and I saw the beauty of it at that moment. And then I make sure and I wanted to watch whether I'm carrying that, thinking like making stories over it. Like I have heard that song before and I have seen a clip before as well many times, but none of those came to my mind. I enjoyed it that moment and then went to the next song, and then at the end of the day, then again before I getting up, I looked at, am I carrying anything? And I felt like I enjoy, yes, that's nice, but I rather couldn't remember how I enjoyed even. And then I thought, okay, I think I'm getting there. So that's something I felt like it's good. Other times, before I, doing this practice, I felt like I always think about it and then going home and talking about it and saying it and recalling the memory. But I didn't have that, so I felt like, oh, that's good. That's a nice way of enjoying and watching a show or something like that.
Exactly. I think that is the procedure we try to follow, so that we are not again and again thinking about it, imagining about it, recalling about it, so that it become a burden then. So then only the problem happens. But at that moment we listen to it, and if there is a beauty, we can appreciate it, and simply it has happened. But the mind remains fairly clear, calm, without indulging or getting involved. So done, that's it. After that, no need to recall or even regret what has happened. If something is possible, that's the best way of doing it, I feel. Yeah. Okay.
Thank you, Bhante.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah.
Report number 2. Theruvan Saranai, Venerable Swamin Wahansa. Sitting meditation. I am practicing bhavana for several years. When I focus my mind to sitting meditation recently, in breath and out breath, it was very difficult to identify. Always my mind goes to Vedana. Today I experienced severe pain on my back below the neck. Then it developed into several areas. In the meantime, I understand my mind goes to several topics, but as I understand that, it disappears. Again and again, I felt several pains. Is it that the Patavi Dhatu connected to the body? Venerable Bhante, please explain me whether I have got stuck in that place. Walking meditation.
Wait. Actually, pain can happen due to various reasons. Now body consists of all 4 elements, so it is very difficult to say whether exactly it is the Patavi Dhatu or anything else. But typically, whatever way of contact, so the 4 elements are there, any form of contact can cause kind of a feeling. So it is quite difficult to recognize exactly whether it is a Patavi Dhatu, what's that earth element. Could be, it's also possible, but bit difficult to exactly recognize what sort of element is operating as the significant one. You can get a kind of a fair guess you can make. I think at this level probably you can see how feelings are arising, how they are changing and how they are disappearing if possible. And again, if we are not adding anything to it mentally, so that's another area. Say there is a bodily pain, but we are keeping pain as pain without adding a mental component to it. So that is the most important thing. Suppose that we are ill, sick, and there's a fair amount of bodily pain. Is it possible for us to maintain a mindset without regretting or without complaining or worrying, thinking and cursing and so many different kinds of mental opinions, mental suffering in a way. So this added component is something that we create, something we unnecessarily prepare. So that is something if we can ignore or if we can avoid, that's the best way. Now all of us may have to go through in our lives different difficult situations. Assume that the bodily pain or bodily sickness or aging, decaying, all these different problems. So at that moment, if we are able to maintain a mind which is fairly stable, which is fairly equanimous, irrespective of the bodily condition. This is easy to say, but quite difficult to do. So when the body is sick, there's a significant impact coming to the mind also. There may not be enough strength in the mind. Mind also can even collapse. Mind can get depressed. And various complaints can automatically happen. And questions can happen. So at that moment, if we are able to recognize such kind of a state and maintain a fairly equanimous mindset, that's the best. So here also you can see, assume now there is a pain available within the body. Is my mind complaining about it? Is my mind talking about it? Is mind getting crowded about it? Burdened as a result of that? Or I am simply aware of the pain as pain and I can simply change the posture and so that pain could disappear. Then again I can follow the meditation what I was doing. So if that is the situation, that means your mind is fairly clean. You know how to handle the thing without adding the second arrow. So you might have heard about that very popular sutta called Salla Sutta, where Buddha emphasized how typically a worldly person, when going through some amount of suffering, some amount of bodily pain, how he is adding another pain that is more psychological, more mental. So he has two types of suffering now. One is the bodily part, second is the mental part. So he has two arrows. First arrow is almost like unavoidable. So due to various reasons, the bodily pain can happen. But the second one is something we can completely avoid depending on our practice. So practice has to lead us towards that. At the beginning there may be a fair amount of sorrow, fair amount of lamentation, fair amount of despair and all sorts of mental suffering. Now as a result of the practice, that component has to slowly reduce. Ultimately there could be a situation, okay, there's a utter bodily pain, but mind is still maintaining some amount of clarity. So certain very interesting stories are there. I can remember there is one, I can't exactly remember the name of the sutta. At that moment there's a really poisonous snake, we can say, was touched to a arahant, and he know now this is disastrous and this is the end of my life. And now he is asking the other fellow monks to take his body to outside the room. And he is predicting, I am going to die soon. And the monks who are carrying him see that his faculties are really sharp, very, bright. Can't see that he is going to die soon. And they are saying, Bhante, and you are telling that you are going to die soon, but your faculties are very sharp. So we can't feel that you are going through much amount of a pain. But anyway, he was taken out without long time, passed away. So such stories are there. I can't say that it happens to everyone, but the opposite is also possible. Now, one interesting example is Anathapindika. He being a noble disciple, Sotapanna, stream winner, he is explaining how much of bodily pain that he is going through. Extreme, severe suffering he was going through, and he is asking Venerable Sariputta to visit him, so that he has some kind of a, say, good association, we can say, kind of a solace. So Venerable Sariputta, Venerable Ananda, they all come and talk to Anathapindika. And Venerable this Anathapindika very honestly explained what a kind of a severe pain he is going through in this situation. And at that moment, Venerable Sariputta gave a really exalted preaching, and actually Anathapindika cried after hearing that. Not because he couldn't do it, but because he haven't heard such a profound teaching before. So you can see, he is so sharp, by the way. Even though he is explaining what a kind of a severe pain he is going through, his attention was fully available to the really deep Dhamma. Venerable Sariputta was preaching to him. He was fully understanding that, and he fully felt it, got the meaning, and now he is making a request, please Bhante, please teach these deep Dhamma even to lay people. Don't keep it just for the monks. It's a very interesting story, Anathapindika Sutta. So likewise, we can see whenever we are going through some bodily pain, most probable thing is mind also not functioning really well. Mind become really disturbed, not functioning well, not enough mindfulness available, and kind of regrets can happen, not so sharp, gloomy, all sorts of difficulties could be there. So we have to get sick and see. Even though we are talk high, we need to get sick and see how my mind behaving in such a situation. We can't predict. But the possibility is potential is still available if you are practicing enough. Even though body is going through a severe suffering, we can try our best to maintain an undisturbed mind, a relaxed mind, calm mind. Can't say a happy mind, but at least equanimous mind, kind of a bearing mind. I think that is possible. We can try. Yeah.
Walking meditation, same report, Bhante.
Yeah.
When it comes to the walking meditation, I experience that both legs are moving, taking turns. On the tile floor, it appeared very smooth and cold. On the sand, I felt it's rough. While I was experiencing that way, again and again, my mind goes to several thoughts, but very soon it came back. Venerable Swamin Mahansa, please advise me whether I am in a wrong path. Theruvan Saranai.
No, you are in the walking path. So nothing to worry. So these things are very common. I mean, getting minor distractions, and important thing is you have noticed that even a distraction now you are able to recognize and you are able to come back to the object. So that means you are mindful. So complete distraction means so you are lost. You have lost. You are completely in a dream, completely in an imagined situation where you didn't see that this as a distraction. All of a sudden, immediately you are thinking something, you are fully involved in that, planning something. That means completely taken away. But here, important thing I have seen is that you have seen it as a distraction, as a thought. That means you are having the capacity to see it as a separate thing, which is outside of what you have selected, outside of your primary object. Now there's something different. That also you can see. So on the other hand, so mindfulness is available in both situations. While you are in the primary object, mindfulness is available. When you are shifting from primary object to another object, still mindfulness is available. While mind is associating or being with another object, that is also being aware, so there also mindfulness is available. So I think if you are looking in like that, so we don't need to complain too much about the distractions. If we know, so this knowing capacity is very, very important. Sampajanakari hoti. Every time you are knowing what's really going on. So currently, mind is associated in the primary object. Now it has shifted. You know how it is shifting. Now it is not associated in the primary object, but something else. That also you know how it is associating. Then no change or no disturbance to the mindfulness. Object-wise it has changed, but mindfulness is intact. It is continuous. So likewise, we can see how mindfulness is growing or expanding. Such thing is there. So anyway, advice is simply continue your practice. So likewise, your mindfulness will grow, expand, and you can see the big picture, what's really going on. So like that.
Report number 3. Theruvan Saranai Bhante. I listened to your recent Sinhala sermon on Magandhiya Sutta, which was very helpful and which led to an introspect towards my own mind, which I would find it easy to write a report in Sinhala. Magandhiya Sutra Deshanava itamat rasavat. දේශනාව මුල සිට අග දක්වා වටිනා ගුරු උපදෙස් අවංකවම ප්‍රයෝජනවත් වුණා. මානසික පුහුණුව අතරතුර ගොඩ නැගෙන යම් පමණක විශ්වාසය මත ගෝචර භූමියෙන් පිටත හැසිරීමේ අවදානම මා දැනගත්තා. විපස්සනා මූලිකව කරගෙන පුහුණුව නිසා ආයාසයකින් තොරව ඉන්ද්‍රියයන් යම්තාක් දුරට සංවරයි. එහෙත් පිරිස ඇසුරේ යෙදීමට එතරම් උනන්දුවක් මා දක්වන්නේ නැහැ. වරහන් ඇතුලේ සාමාන්‍ය ජීවිතයේ යහළු යෙහෙලියන් ඥාතීන් වරහන් වහලා කාලය ඊතා වටිනා බවක් හැඟෙන නිසා දැනට ඇති අපහසුතාව එපමණකි. තෙරුවන් සරණයි.
මේක නම් එච්චරම ඉන්ද්‍රිය සංවරයට අදාළම ලොකු දෙයක් කියවෙන්නේ නැහැ මේ වார்த்தාවේ. නමුත් මාගන්ධි සූත්‍රයේදී කියවෙනවා අන්නේ කාරණාව. ඉන්ද්‍රිය සංවරය කොයිතරම්නම් අපේ භාවනාවට අපේ මේ ආධ්‍යාත්මික ජීවිතයට වටිනවද කියන එක. මොකද හුඟක් වෙලාවට අපි ටික ටික කියන්නේ වැඩෙන්න ඒ කියන්නේ භාවනාවෙන් විපස්සනාවෙන් වැඩෙන්න සමහරට ටිකක් අපි නිකන් අර කැමති විදිහට හැසිරෙන ගතියක් කලින් තරම් බය නැති ගතියක් එන්න පුළුවන්. මොකද දැන් ලොක්කා වෙලානේ නැද්ද? කියලා එහෙම හැංගෙන්න පුළුවන්. හැබැයි ඉතින් තාම අනතුරුදායකයි. ඉතින් ඒකයි ප්‍රශ්නේ. මේ මොකද ආශ්‍රවයන් තියෙනවනේ. නේද? ආශ්‍රව තියෙනවා, අනුසය තියෙනවා, ඒවා තියෙනවා. ඉතින් ඒකයි ඒක බුදුහාඳුරු දෙන වෝනින් එකක්. බුදුරජාණන් වහන්සේ දෙන මේ අනතුරු ඇඟවීමක් තියෙනවා. බුදුරජාණන් වහන්සේ කියන ධම්මපදයේ ලස්සන ගාතාවක් එනවා. මට ගාතාව මතක නැහැ. නමුත් අර්ථය මතකයි. බුදුරජාණන් වහන්සේ කියනවා මේ සාමාන්‍ය ලෞකික ජීවිතයෙන් ඉවත් වෙලා පැවිදි සැපයක් වින්දත් ඊළඟට අනිත් අයට විඳින්න බැරි සමාධි සෝයක් වින්දත් ඊළඟට අනිත් අයට විඳ ගන්න බැරි නෙක්ඛම්ම සෝයක් වින්දත් ඔතනින් සතුටු වෙන්න එපා ආශ්‍රව සහිතයි. ආයි අනිත් පැත්ත ගහන්න පුළුවන්. ඒකයි ප්‍රශ්නේ. ඒ නිසා අපි සමාහයටදී විපස්සනායේ සෑහෙන දුරක් ගිහිල්ලා වෙන්න පුළුවන්. අපි අනිශ්චිත බවක් අත්දකින්න වෙන්න පුළුවන්. නමුත් ඉතින් තාම සම්පූර්ණයෙන්ම කියන්න බෑ මේ ආපහු යන එකක් නැහැ කියලා. ආපස්ස ගහන එකක් නැහැ කියලා. අර මාර්ගඵලලාභී තත්වයකින් හොඳට තහවුරු වෙන තාක්. එතන අවදානමක් තියෙනවා. ඒ නිසා මම කියන්නේ නැහැ ඒත් ඉතින් අපි හැමදාම හරිම තද විදිහට රළු විදිහට බල කළා ස්ට්‍රයිවිං මෝඩ් එකක් තනිකර අර හිර කරගෙන කාගෙන යන ගතියක් එහෙමත් කරන්න බෑ. එතන පොඩි වෙනසක් වෙන්නත් ඕනේ. ඒක බුදුරජාණන් වහන්සේ දේශනා කළා තියෙනවා. දැන් බොජ්ජංග ධර්ම වඩන රටා දෙකක් හඳුනා ගන්න පුළුවන්. පළවෙනි රටාවේ තියෙන තනිකරම ඔය ක්‍රමානුකූලව පියවරෙන් පියවර හොඳට සතිය දියුණු වීම, සතියට ඒ අඛණ්ඩ සතියක් වඩනකොට පස්සේ ධම්මවිචය දියුණු වීම, ඒ කියන්නේ විපස්සනා පැත්ත වැඩි වීම, ධම්මවිචය හැදෙනවත් එක්ක ඊට පස්සේ වීර්ය වැඩි වීම, විරියෙන් පස්සේ ප්‍රීතියක්, පස්සද්ධියක්, සමාධියක්, උපේක්ඛාවක්. ලස්සන මාර්ගයක් පෙන්නනවා. පිළිවෙලක් පෙන්නනවා. හැබැයි ඒ ටික ආවට පස්සේ, මේ උපේක්ෂාවට ආවට පස්සේ විශේෂයෙන්ම අපි කියමු සංඛාර උපේක්ඛාවට නැත්නම් අපි කියමු අනිශ්චිත භාවයකට උපාදාන රහිත තත්යකට ආවට පස්සේ හැබැයි රිලැක්ස් එකේ යන්න කියලාම කියනවා. බොහොම සැහැල්ලුවෙන්ම ගත කරන්න කියලා කියනවා. අතිසම්බොජ්ජංග භාවයේදී විවේක නිසිතං, විරාග නිසිතං, නිරෝධ නිසිතං, ඔස්සග්ග පරිණාමයෙන්. එතකොට මේ පුදුමාකාර වෙනස් වීමක් අපේ ආකල්පවල නැත්නම් අපේ ජීවන රටාවේ අපි ආපු ගමනේ වෙනසක් ඇති විය යුතුයි ඇත්තටම. හැබැයි එතනින් හැංගෙන්නේ නැහැ. අපි සම්පූර්ණයෙන්ම ඔහේ අත්තරලා දාලා ඕන දෙයක් දැන් හිත කරගත්තට ප්‍රශ්නයක් නැහැ. මම දැන් ගොඩ කියලා එහෙමම යන්නත් බෑ. සෑහෙන ඇසුරක් සංසුම් බවක් විවේක බවක් හිත ඇසුරු කරන්නත් ඕනේ. හිතට දුවන්න දෙන්නත් ඕනේ. හැබැයි පරිස්සමේ තමයි. නේද? අර මොකද්ද තියෙන්නේ? මට එන්නේ මොකද්ද කවියක්ද ඔහෙද එකක් තියෙනවා. මට දැන් මතක් වෙන්නේ මේ මොකද ඉතින් මේ තාම ඉතින් අනුතරදායක ගමනක් තියෙනවා. සම්පූර්ණයෙන්ම ඉතින් රහත් වෙලාට පස්සේ රහත් වුණාට පස්සේ නම් ඉතින් ප්‍රශ්නයක් නැහැ. ඒත් හැබැයි රහත් වුණාට පස්සේ ඉතින් මොකද මේ එහෙම අපි වගේ පිස්සු පැත්තක් ඇත්තෙත් නැහැ ඉතින්. මොකද අපි නම් පිස්සුනේ තාම. රාග දෝෂ මොහ තාම තියෙනවානේ. රාග ද්වේෂ මොහ ටික ඔක්කොම ගලවලා ගියාට පස්සේ ඉතින් සම්පූර්ණයෙන්ම සුවපත්ම තමයි. කිසිම ප්‍රශ්නයක් නැහැ. නමුත් ඊට මෙහා අවදානමක් තියෙනවා. ඒක හරියම ලස්සන සූත්‍රයක් එනවා ඔය හත්ති සාරිපුත්ත සූත්‍රය කියලා. මම හිතන්නේ අපි ඊට කලින් දවසකත් කතා කළා ඒක. හත්ති සාරිපුත්ත සූත්‍රය. ඉතින් හත්ති සාරිපුත්ත සූත්‍රයේදී හත්ති සාරිපුත්ත කියන ස්වාමීන් වහන්සේ රහතන් වහන්සේ කෙනෙක් නෙමෙයි මේ වෙනකොට. රහතන් වහන්සේලා කරන බොහොම උත්කෘෂ්ඨ අන්දමේ සාකච්ඡාවකදී අර ස්වාමීන් වහන්සේ නිතරම ඇඟිල්ල ගහනවා. නිතරම අත දානවා. මැද්දට පැනලා කතා කරනවා. ඉතින් එතකොට එතන ඉන්න කොට්ටිත මහරහතන් වහන්සේ අනතුරු අඟවනවා. ආශුතුම කරන්න එපා. ගැලපෙන්නේ නැහැ. ඉවසන්න. මේ වැඩිහිටි සාන්නාන්සලා පිරිසක් මේ බොහොම මේ ශ්‍රේෂ්ඨ සාකච්ඡාව මේ කරන්නේ ඔබ වහන්සේගේ මේ මැද්දට පැනලා කෑ ගහන එක ගැලපෙන්නේ නැහැ කියලා පොඩ්ඩක් තරවටුවක් කරනවා. ඊට පස්සේ මේ ඒ සම්බන්ධයෙන් අහනවා අනිත් ස්වාමීන් වහන්සේලා ඒ සිදුවීමෙන් පස්සේ මහා කොට්ටිත ස්වාමීන් වහන්සේගෙන් ඇයි ඔබ වහන්සේ එහෙම මේ අර ආයුෂ්මතුන්ට අර වගේ කතා කළේ? එතකොට කියනවා මෙහෙම කටයුතු කරන්න ගියොත් අනිවාර්යෙන් සිවුරැල්ලා යනවා. ගැලපෙන්නේ නැහැ. යන විදිය ගැලපෙන්නේ නැහැ. ඒ වගේම සිවුරැල්ලා යනවා. ඒ වගේම සිවුරැල්ලත් යනවා. ඒ කියන්නේ හොඳ දැනුමක් සහිතව සෑහෙන කියන්නේ හැකියාවක් සහිත කෙනෙක් අර වගේ ගැඹුරු සාකච්ඡාවකට සම්බන්ධ වීමේ හැකියාව තිබිච්ච කෙනෙක් හත්තේ සාරිපුත්ත ස්වාමීන් වහන්සේ හැබැයි සිවුරු ඇරලා යනවා. දැන් ඊට පස්සේ දැන් දෙවියොත් ඇවිල්ලා කියනවා මේ කවුද මහා කොටිසානාසයට මෙන්න යන්න ඔබ වහන්සේගේ උපකල්පනය හරි අර ආයස්පතුන් සිවුරු ඇරලා ගියා. බුදුරජාන් වහන්සේ ගාවටත් ඉතින් ওই පණිවිඩය යනවා. බුදුරජාන් වහන්සේ හැබැයි කියනවා සිවුරු ඇරලා ගියාට මොකද නෙක්ඛම්මේ ආනිසංස නොබෝ දිනකින් සිහි කරනවා කියනවා. ඒ කියන්නේ සිවුරේ ඉඳලා තියෙනවා සෑහෙන කාලයක් හොඳ මේ විපස්සනාවකුත් යම් පමණකට වැඩිලක් තියෙනවා. හැබැයි ඉතින් අර ආශ්‍රව සහිතින්ද ගැලවිලා ගියා. හැබැයි ගිහි ගෙදර ඉන්න තරම් ලොකු කාලයක් ඉන්න තරම් අමාරුයි. මොකද එතන කෙලස් බරිත වැඩි. යාට හැංගෙනවා කියනවා ආයි එන්න ඕනේ මේ මෝඩ වැඩක් කරගත්තේ කියලා. ආයි එනවා. ආයි ඊට පස්සේ රහත් වෙනවා. හරි ලස්සනයි ඉතින් අර කියන්නේ අපි හිතන්න නරකයි මේක හරීම නිකන් ඍජු මාර්ගයක ඍජු මාර්ගය තමයි ඒ කායන මාර්ගයත් තමයි. නමුත් අදහස කියන්නේ කිසිම කඩතොල්ලක් නැතුව නිකන් අර හයිවේ එක වගේ එහෙම නම් නෙමෙයි. කඩතුළු තියෙන්න පුළුවන්, වැටෙන්න පුළුවන්, නොමග යන්න පුළුවන්, ආයි යන්තම් සත්පුරුෂ අසුරයට වැටලා ආයි හරි පාරකට එන්න පුළුවන්. සෑහෙන විවිධ ආකාර බාධක හැලහැප්පීම් එන්න පුළුවන්. ඒ නිසා ඉතින් පරිස්සමේ තමයි යන්න තියෙන්නේ. හරි.
Report number 4, Venerable Bhante. I would like to have some advice to increase my Shraddha and Virya. Theruvan Saranai.
So if you can tell me to what extent you have Saddha? So actually the Saddha will grow as you are more and more practicing and more you are realizing how true the Buddha's teaching is. So typically what we have is unfounded kind of Saddha at the beginning. It's not yet well founded. So we simply have faith on the Buddha, simply have faith on the Dhamma, simply have faith on the Sangha, because we haven't realized it yet. What they are talking, what they are preaching, what they have realized, we ourselves haven't realized. But as we are continuing our practice, so to little extent, so we also start touching what they are talking. Say a little bit of samadhi, for example. Assume that you are a person who have never experienced any kind of samadhi. Mind is completely bewildered, completely distracted, scattered and very restless mind. Assume that you are with such a mind, but still assume now you have some amount of saddha. And assume now you have started practice, and one day suppose that you are experiencing samadhi. So it's a eye-opening kind of a experience. So you feel it, you understand. Oh, what a state this is. My mind was like a real mess, but today I am experiencing a complete blissful state, a very tranquil state. So this is possible. So how true Buddha's teaching, how true the practice is. These things are possible. So now you get a lot of faith. Because you yourself have experienced the samadhi. So the teaching, talking about the samadhi, techniques, taking you to samadhi, all become very relevant, very truthful or very practical. And they bring you there. So you are really tested, you have tested them. Not that you have read about that, but you have put them into practice. You have tested them and you yourself become an evidence for that. There you get a very strong faith. So that is one area with respect to samadhi. On the other hand, to the vipassana, assume now you practice to some extent vipassana, and one day you get a real eye-opening kind of an insight. There again you get a tremendous amount of faith on Buddha, Dhamma, Sangha. So that is where through the Dhamma now you are seeing the Buddha. Not that you simply believe the Buddha, rather you yourself have seen the Dhamma. There you are so confirmed, okay, where the Buddha is, how he has preached this Dhamma. So you start honestly appreciating. Heartfelt kind of a saddha now is there. So that's why I feel basically say encourage direct practice, so practice will take you to a tremendous amount of saddha. It will take you a very deep, profound saddha, not mere unfounded kind of saddha.
For number 5, Venerable Bhante, I would like to have some guidance to stop mind wandering around. Thero Nissarana.
Yeah, so this whole session, whole meditation is for that. So basically, best way is start walking. So how you are mindfully walking? So you can't immediately confront mind wandering because so wandering is there. But if you are trying to stop wandering purposely, willfully, intentionally, by simply confronting the mind, impossible, because hindrances are so powerful. You haven't have the enough mindfulness, concentration, or vipassana knowledge, whatever it is. So you are very much helpless. That's why we are using the body awareness, simply the kaya anupassana. So very practical techniques in a way, tools. While walking, your foot is touching the ground. There's a gross sensation. So it's a reminder to your wandering mind. Okay, come back here. Just be here. Not in the wandering, not in the rumination, or not in the fantasizing, but be here. So it's a kind of a blow to this wandering mind. Because there's a hard sensation now you are experiencing. So be with that. Again, assume now you've taken your mind there. But again it jumped out. But now left foot is touching the ground again. Another hard sensation. Again a reminder to the mind to come back there. So likewise, so more and more you are one by one when you are improving this. Say now you are able to have 5 steps, mindful 5 steps. Later say 7 steps. Later 10 steps. Later 15 steps. So likewise when you are improving that, increasing that, so that means that mind wandering become fairly weak. So your concentration power, mindfulness become more powerful. There may be a moment that you get more power or your mindfulness become more powerful, concentration become more powerful, wandering, daydreaming, fantasizing become almost like in the background, and it's completely disappear at a later time. That's why these things are fairly practically that we need to do. We can't simply read a book and completely get rid of wandering. We can't simply have a strong determination and get rid of wandering. It is not practical. But practical exercises, these kind of exercises are the best way of doing it. Then you yourself can sort of experience what is the change going on in your mind. Say, in a previous situation, if mind wandered, assume that you are spending 10 minutes in mind wandering, completely drifted. But now, even though wandering happened, you may not be spending such a long time. Maybe you have spent only 5 minutes. After some time, maybe you are spending only 2 minutes, maybe 1 minute, maybe 30 seconds, 10 seconds. Just a 1 second, that means you know that. So likewise, as a gradual improvement happens, so don't worry about too much about mind wandering, because I can remember how I started. Unimaginable. Complete restless mind. So when I became a monk in 2008, actually I was with many responsibilities. I had many family responsibilities. My mother was sick and she was dying, and there were many family issues that the ladies, caretakers are coming. They are making real problems to me, to my brother, to sister, to mother, but still the caretaker has to be taken care of. Otherwise she will go away, mother will be in trouble. So I am in a real dilemma. And then at the same time I was working and I had to look after that part, many responsibilities. My mind was like a hell. Then mother passed away. So I implemented my B plan. Then became a monk. but still the mind is completely restless. Very difficult. So I read the book by Jnanarama Mahathero. He was the Samatha Vidarshana Bhavana Marga, and he is telling, okay, keep your mind 10 minutes on this particular object. So even though he is telling for 10 minutes, I can't keep even for 1 second in a one object. So that was where I was. So, but the main, I haven't given up. So that's what I feel the main strength I have. I struggled hard. I was, striving in that level, and not giving up. So I know what a kind of a restless mind I have, and I couldn't achieve it. What is available in the book, but I was not giving up. I was practicing, daily practicing. So I can remember I was practicing Anapanasati. To what extent I can't even sleep. Too much effort. I am trying so hard to keep my attention on the breath. Too much effort, and kind of what's that? Not drowsy. Stressed or something like that, but can't sleep. Several days I couldn't sleep. Because I don't know how to balance. Almost like forceful breathing I was doing. Later only, slowly learned how to balance it. How to maintain, let the body to do the breathing without interfering it. And simply be aware as allowing the process to happen mindfully. So you don't need to struggle. Through all the falls, many falls. Actually, I didn't have, it's very difficult for a teacher to explain each and every bit. So they simply give the main instruction and they go to the other yogi. So it's very difficult. So I made the many mistakes, thousands of mistakes. And even assume that to some extent later I was successful. But then I was practicing samatha meditation, kasina and all. There again I was practicing too much, putting too much effort. Again I couldn't sleep for several days, no sleep. I was applying oil to my head. Really hectic. That's how, it's not a, easy path in a way. I couldn't come to Satipatthana immediately. Now we have confidence to tell that. So I am telling directly, okay, this is the path, come to that. But the previous monastery I was in, so they go through a Samatha Pubbanga Vipassana path. So a fair amount of Samatha has to be done. And wasted fair amount of time, to be honest. Can't help. So that's the way. So don't worry. These things are there. But anyway, mindful walking, mindful sitting, and trying to be mindful on all daily activities take you to a long path. So there's a very direct path available. So that's with confidence we can tell. Buddha has made that statement confidently. So no need to look various other practices. So this Satipatthana, ekayano ayam bhikkhave maggu. Yeah. Okay, if there are any other questions, we can spend few times. Yes. Yeah.
Dear Bhante, that I couldn't write this issue, but I am just thinking whether to verify the process which I am undergoing in my sitting meditation. Actually, when I sit for meditation, sitting meditation, that I can concentrate on the posture, and basically I feel like somebody else is sitting. Mm-hmm. And then with the next stage, the breathing, I can touch only the chest, but not anywhere else. Mm-hmm. And while after some time, if I concentrate only on my nose tip, only I can see that breathing in. Mm-hmm. But still I can't sort of feel breathing out.
Mm-hmm. So only breathing in.
Breathing in I can feel, and basically some sort of feeling is there, like, but breathing out, of course, I can't sort of really feel that happening, I know that. But basically then I'm sort of going on with sort of a breathing in and breathing out. That's what it is happening.
Later, are you capable of knowing breathing out as well?
Sometimes if I concentrate, yes. But automatically it doesn't happen.
Now, you first made a statement that you are keeping your attention on the chest.
Yes.
At that time, were you able to recognize how kind of a movement happened in the chest?
Yeah, movement happening in the chest. Yeah,
abdomen.
Exactly, movement happening in the chest, and then subsequently I feel the abdomen also.
Right.
But
are you able to see the full cycle? Right.
Yes.
As well as falling?
Yes. But I don't know where the breathing is anchoring my body actually. That of
Fine,
course I
but
know.
still the movement, if you can recognize the forward movement and the backward movement,
yes.
If you are able to recognize that, then be there.
Yeah.
So
okay.
that means you don't need to shift to nostril.
Nostril, okay.
Better here, you are able to capture your attention fully with the rising and falling. So that would be more appropriate for you then.
Okay. So what is your...
you directly to Vipassana.
Right. What is your advice in that case? I'm not sometimes that observing the falling and rising, the abdomen, and then get into the... No, that's what I am telling. No need to shift. Okay. You can continue with rising and falling. Yeah. Rising and falling will directly take you to elements meditation. Dhatu Manasikara. Okay.
At the beginning, rising and falling works at the conventional level, so we recognize it as rising and then falling. But later, as our mindfulness is growing, sharpening, then we can see what are the details of rising and falling. Like very, very similar to mindful breathing, we are rising and then the little gap, then falling, another little gap, then the next rising, another little gap. So likewise, you may be able to see the complete cycle of rising and falling. So if you are able to do that, that means you are fairly concentrated here.
Okay.
And after that, probably you can see how you feels like rising. Is it the same intensity you are feeling, or is there any changes there? Are there any little parts there? Only now say during the rising part, only the movements are there, or any stiffness is there, any lightness is there. So likewise you are now inquiring this whole process. You are adding the clear comprehension. Then if you are successful, then you start learning the element characteristics. So slowly you are now studying element characteristics. It will take you to elements meditation. Yeah.
Thank you.
Probably you can try that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you very much.
Yeah.
Is there anyone else who would like to discuss something?
How can you have mindfulness on a day-to-day basis, Bhante? Because this is my first time, and
few possibilities. Yeah, few possibilities. One thing is you can start listening to your own sounds. Now, say that you are sweeping a floor, then a little sound you are making by sweeping. So, without allowing the mind to get distracted, thinking this and that. So there's a little sound you are making. So you can listen to that particular sound. Say you are washing the dishes. There may be a little sound you are making. So you can listen to that sound. So sound happens in the present moment. So important thing is that. So the first part of the mindfulness is that bare attention. So you are simply trying to be in the present moment, not allowing the mind to think about the past, not think about the future, but very simple activities happening right now. You are trying to be fully aware those little activities happening right now. Sound always happen right now. That is one area. So listening to the sounds generating from ourselves. That is one option. Another option is certain sensations happening right now. Say the same example if we take. Say you are using a broom to sweep. Say you are holding the broom, and now there's a grip, some gross sensation or tightness. So that tightness is something that you feel. You can pay attention to that. That is another thing. Say you are holding a mug to wash there you can feel how the mug feels like, or you are using soap, how you feels the soap. So likewise, that at that moment, how things felt like. So that's another area, the sensation part, the feeling part is another area that you can see. Pay attention. Assume that you are eating. So there are even the same thing you can apply, how you are mixing food and how it feels to your fingertips, and you are taking a little bit of food, how it smells like, and when you are chewing it, how you taste it, what are the tastes available. So each and every activity, likewise, try to be mindful. And there are no activities that we can't be mindful. Every activity we can be mindful. So likewise, little things you start doing. Immediately you probably may not be able to be mindful on mindful talking, and the conversations bit difficult because you get somewhat involved in that. So immediately trying to be mindful in talking would be difficult. But on the other hand, some simple activities, mostly what you are doing alone, say you are brushing your teeth at your washroom, there you can start being mindful. So without allowing the mind to think this and that, so you can feel how you are brushing the teeth. Maybe the taste of the toothpaste, or how the brush is touching the gums and all these things. So likewise, and all that little things you start feeling. Then you feel like, oh, now I am living. Now only I am living. Previously, even things are simply going on, but I was in a dream. But now I came to the ground. Now I am brushing the teeth. Now I am sweeping. Now I am washing. So likewise, that's why Buddha makes the very simple terminology. Gaccanto va gaccamiti pajanati. So now I am walking. Tito va titom hiti pajanati. Now I am standing. Nisinno va nisinnom hiti pajanati. Now I am sitting. Sayano va sayanom hiti pajanati. Now I am sleeping. I is there. Don't worry about that. But you know exactly what's going on right now. You are in the present moment. So we don't need to think too far about very complicated things. So how I can establish mindfulness in the present moment based on the bodily activity. So bodily activities are really, a very rich area for us to develop mindfulness. So that is where we start with various bodily activities, and slowly you start feeling that. You start making a new life like. You feel that, okay, now I feel like kind of refreshed, rejuvenated, something. That's kind of sort of a feeling you may get. Start with some simple activities. Typically you are doing autopilot, completely ignorant, but now you are trying to pay attention and doing it. Particularly the actions you do alone. Those are very easy to do. Yeah. Okay, anyone else? Any comments? You have anything? Yeah? No?
Like when we are in the practice, we tend to look at our mind and body all the time. So we drift away from the others little by little, right? No?
No. So that's the beginning. Ajjattang va kaye kayanupassī vihirati. So we are talking only that part, ajjatta, but then we have to do the bahidda. Bahidda va kaye kayanupassī vihirati. So always we start with ourselves, true. So we look at our body, we learn from that. We look at our mind, we look at our emotions, we learn from that. But that doesn't mean we have to forget the bahidda part. So when we are interacting with others, when we are dealing with others, moving with others, automatically our practice has to grow to that level. How we feel someone else, how we feel someone else's emotions. And if he's going through a troublesome situation, how I feel that, how he might go through it. So all that sensitivity part, the connection part is also there. So, iti ajjattang va kaye kayanupassī vihirati, bahidda va kaye kayanupassī vihirati. So, to the body, even to the feelings, to the perceptions, formations, everywhere. So that's why the mindfulness practice appears at the beginning like fairly introvert, true, and very much like selfish in a way. But slowly, as you are growing, it is expanding. And you start feeling another person. You start reading another person. And you can even be compassionate, but not... you are very much like driven by compassion, but you under control. You can see, if I want to interact, if I want to help, is this the proper time? Some kind of an under controlled compassion, controlled involvement, empathy, what we call. So likewise, these parts are included in the practice. So we don't need to think that Satipatthana will take you only to yourself, but it's an expanding thing. So you can see the big picture. And now actually even now in the present day context, something called social emotional learning, they are talking. So starting with the body awareness, fairly mindfulness practice, starting with body awareness. So when we develop fair amount of body awareness, mindfulness practice, then we get the self-monitoring, kind of what they are using a term, different word they are using, not monitoring. I can't remember. So anyway, so now someone is working within their capacity or under their supervision, something like that, not completely impulsively reacting, but under some control. Then they are talking about the social skills or social awareness. That means you are aware of another person, another beings, another group. And then they talk about the interrelationships. So now there's many people, how they are interacting, because you know about yourself, the same person is there. I mean, we as human beings, so we have some similar, emotions, similar reactions, similar way of thinking, very similar. So if you learn much, if you study much about yourself, so same kind of a way is available with another person. It's very easy. So likewise, interrelationships is the last part, the fourth part, and ultimately they are talking about the correct decision making, because the person can see the big picture, the full picture about the whole situation, and then take a right decision. You can see the 5 components of this social emotional learning. It's nothing but the mindfulness practice is the core. Yeah. Yeah. Okay, we have spent 1 hour. If we don't have any more questions, then we'll wind up the session and we'll have the Dhamma sermon at 4 p.m. Thank you very much for participation.